was very hectic. I just get so emotional. I literally probably wouldn't even be alive.
People ask me, Chris, do you really think that you guys can end slavery? Can you imagine what we could accomplish together? Momentum is building and change will happen, but only when each and every one of us decides to do our part.
And so when survivors come in, our social workers will meet them, develop an individual care plan for them and say, what are your hopes and dreams?
For me, 821 is a chance to start a new life.
Join me as we talk about God's view of justice and the part we play in it. I'm Christine Kane, and I am thrilled that you have decided to join us today. Now, God's passionate about the topic of justice in our world in every area. We hear a lot of very important discussions today about who needs it, who should fight for it, and what does justice look like. As we all know from the Bible and from our own personal experience, we live in a fallen world. The kingdom of God is here, but it is here in part, not in full. As a result of the fall, there are significant injustices in our world. Today, we will spend some time looking at one of the most horrific injustices and violations of human rights, human trafficking. Human trafficking is the exploitation of vulnerable people for their bodies and labor. It's modern-day slavery. And while it takes many forms, it's the same crime. It is happening on a massive scale in every community in the world, including our own. As the founder of A21, I have seen this injustice firsthand. During this program, we will share how human trafficking happens and the devastating impact in the lives of those men, women, and children. We will also share good news. There are effective strategies to combat human trafficking and to restore survivors to freedom and independence. There are practical ways you can make a difference, and I believe that if we work together, we can end human trafficking. You will hear from A21 leaders who have been on the front lines of this fight. You will hear real-life stories about those who have been trapped in and set free from human trafficking. And you will hear directly from a survivor who has been in our care. It's an action-packed program. As a foundation for our practical discussions on human trafficking, I will provide a deep dive on biblical justice. As Christians, we know God sees all things that happen on the earth, which raises some very important questions. How does God regard injustice in our world? What is God's reaction to the unrelenting assault upon those who are most vulnerable? And what is our responsibility as Christians and as the church in response to injustice? Although this might be the first time that you hear a message that is dedicated to unpacking biblical justice, the Bible has very clear answers in response to every one of those questions. I am so grateful that you are joining us today for this program, as I believe it will deepen your understanding of what is happening in our world, and it will lead you deeper into the heart of God and will inspire and empower you to make a transformational impact right where you are.